Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Firsties. My name is Mila. I'm your host. I'm super excited for this episode. Before we get started, I just want to do a shameless plug. Please sure you're following us everywhere on social media. Firsties Pod. That's Firsties Pod everywhere. Thank you to everyone who's been listening, watching, subscribing, doing all the things. I really do appreciate it. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'm so excited for this guest here. We have Dave here, but also known as Zunnni on Instagram.
Yes, David Zunnni Balagizi.
Yes. Where did you get Zunnni from?
Okay, that's actually interesting. So my middle name is Kalunzi.
Love.
Right.
Okay.
Very African, Congolese.
Right.
Kalunzi. My grandfather's name is Kalunzi, right? But from my mother's side.
Okay.
And I took the Cal out, and then it was Unzi. But there's already a Uzi, so I switched the N and the Z. Zunnni.
Okay.
Okay. And I added the 3 N's because somebody took Zunnni. So.
Yeah. You know how that is when someone takes a name, you just have to add like a number, a 1 or an extra letter. Yeah.
It's going to be Zunnni 1, 2, 3, 4, but I was like, that's too much.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you're a stand-up comedian and TikTok comedian.
Yes.
You do skits. As of lately, you've been really busy with the stand-up game. So we were talking about that off camera. How long have you been on social media?
Ooh, that's a great. Yeah, April 2020, so 4 years. 4 years. Yeah, about 4 years, right? Literally, is it the 7th today?
Who knows? The 6th.
So it's my 4-year anniversary tomorrow.
Oh my God, congrats.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that social media game is like no joke.
I started it in the pandemic. That's when I started.
Like a lot, yeah.
I was bored. And I was on TikTok, by the way. I was on TikTok when it wasn't cool.
Let him know.
Yeah,
let him know, Dave.
I was on TikTok. Nobody liked it. Everybody thought I was weird. And then I started growing. People were like, oh, let me get on this app.
Right. That's how people, yeah.
I was a catalyst.
Who were those people? Was it your family?
Family, friends. Oh my god. Yeah, family, friends. And just like overall, like social, like just people around my age, Gen Z. It's like everybody was on Instagram or Snapchat. Everybody was on Snapchat.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody wanted to do those silly little dances on TikTok. And then I started doing my little dances, and then it started growing. People started getting paid. Mm-hmm. And now it's like this whole thing.
It's changed, yeah.
Oh my goodness, has it?
Yeah. The reason why I asked about family is because we've talked about this off camera as well, but you've seen some content. But we always talk about like family on this podcast, being a firstie.
Is that what it's called? A firstie?
Yeah, a firstie. Yeah, a first gen. Yep, exactly.
Oh, the firstie.
Yeah.
First. That's hilarious.
So what I am so curious to know, like, what is your family thing? Where are you from, by the way?
Congo, DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. That's 3.
Let them know.
That's 3. We got an article in there. That's how you know it's a big one. We got the of. That's important. Democratic Republic of Congo. I was born here, born in DC.
Yep.
Was raised in PG County, Maryland. So yeah.
Maryland.
That's how you say it, Maryland.
Yeah. So what was that experience like growing up?
It was interesting because PG County it's so black that I felt like I was around my people, but also it was like something was off. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Yeah, so because we all look alike. You know, I might have, more, twinks in the hair, or, my eyes might be bigger, or I might look hungrier. But, but no, the difference was, of course, was just PG County is like a richer area. So I was probably like, having immigrant parents. I was poor. So I'd come into like this rich area with nothing, stuff like that. So it was a little different. People had all the sneakers. All the sneakers. I had, Payless shoes.
Talk about it's like
oh man.
I've said it before. Like one of the reasons why Dave Chappelle is one of my favorite comedians. Like
I love Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, one because he's a DC native, but also
damn, Nick, that was insane. See, I could do impressions. That was a lot for you. I'm sorry about that.
It was like he was here, and I might cry because he's one of my idols. That was amazing.
That's the reason why I started stand up. Actually, was Dave Chappelle.
Okay,
that's
you just blew my.
That was a lot.
We'll get into impressions later. That was a lot.
I'd have more.
Dave, you want to say that for the pod? Okay. Anyways, you could have led with that, but anyways, I felt like lied to. But anyways, no, one of his jokes that like I was dying laughing because I could relate to it, but also it was funny as hell. Was he said. Like he did well, his parents did well enough just to grow up poor around white people. Yeah. And I was like, that was so, like, I was thrilled to be where I was. Like I had a privileged situation because of my parents' sacrifice, but it didn't look the same like when I went over to Katie's house or Abigail's house or whatever. And I never voiced that to my parents because one, I felt like, how dare you? You're lucky to be here.
Especially
and I felt loved.
Think about it, like, because parents, because my parents do the same thing where it's like they're paying bills. That's their problem. So if I come to them, it's like, yo, I'm not feeling well
this
today.
Is not cutting it.
And they're like, you're not feeling well. Are you paying bills? No, you're fine. You know what I mean? So it's like every time you tell them your problem, it's like they always try to undermine it.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like a problem to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're like, I'm killing it. You're fed. You're getting good grades. You're doing sport. What are you worried about? Yeah. Your cousin's back like. Pipe down. Yeah. But so that joke with Dave Chappelle, I really related 100%.
I think that's how you know a comic is good. That when anybody who isn't in their situation can laugh and understand what they're going through with their own situation. That's powerful. That's why I like comedy a lot. Being able to do that.
The reason why I can never be a comic, but the reason why I'm obsessed with comedy, like it really is my favorite form of entertainment, is because it really is someone like being so vulnerable on stage. Also public speaking. Let's talk about that real quick.
Oh, like, you want to talk about it. My major was communication.
Okay.
But I went to college. I'm an introvert naturally. Like, I don't like to be in public.
But that's very common, by the way.
Is it? Yeah, I don't like to, I go to clubs sometimes, and I can dance too. I go to clubs sometimes, I'm just like in the back, just like watching, just like, okay, this is cool. But even when I was in college, because I started comedy when I was in college, when I was 18, and I was in college and I had to speak in front of people. Oh my, I'd shake, I'd get nervous.
Yeah, so how did you get past that?
Oh my, well,
because you seem like such a natural.
Exactly. So, my father was a pastor, my brother was an MC in college, and me, I was kind of introverted. Didn't talk really. I was more of a dancer, and I took my major. I ended up switching it to communication, and me changing that major, I started learning about certain things about how to communicate, and also at that time I was a cashier at Auntie and I was able to make my coworkers laugh. And I felt like I could speak in front of people as long as I was making them feel good and laugh. So once I kind of got through that, it was like, oh, and then I started communicating in college. I learned about empathy. I learned about, interpersonal communication, intercultural communication. And I was like, oh, it's just, you just have them feel you and understand you. Once I got to that point, I was like, oh, this is all it is. And I started watching Dave Chappelle, and then I was like, I want to do what he does.
Yeah. I just think, again, like, I do want to give you your flowers while we're here.
Thank you. Flowers. Can I get a rose?
No, but
just kidding.
Not even in order.
I want a specific flower.
Yeah, right. No, because I think the reason why I love comedy so much is because the media and the world right now is just not where I would want it to be. There's so much like division and war and pain and all these things happening. Yeah. That imagine you're in this room. Like I saw Dave Chappelle at the Anthem right when COVID was, things were back opening it up again, and he's a DC native, so the DC crowd went crazy.
Of course,
but I was. You could ask my best friend Chelsea. I was like crying. He didn't even say anything yet. He just walked out. And I think it's the thing of all these people, we have this one thing in common for this brief moment. Yeah. Whether it's we laugh at the same thing at the same exact time. And that's the gift that you give people.
That's beautiful.
Like, I'm not thinking about what faith you are, your sexual orientation, how much money you make, whatever. We're just laughing at this thing together, whether it's painful or not. And that's the gift that you give people.
We don't even think about it like that. That's beautiful. The fact that you see it, it's kind of important to hear this perspective because it makes me want to be better at comedy. You know what I mean? Especially because people, that sounds beautiful, but they don't know how Dave Chappelle started. They don't know how comedians, we have to go to the open mics, in front of people who just came off consultant or computer science degrees, and they're just like at a bar just trying to talk about their day, and they see this this teenage kid telling jokes about his African father. They don't they don't see the mics and how torturous that is. And you just hit the multiple mics, you got to pay for gas. You might go to Baltimore, there's a spot in Baltimore you'll drive down to, then you got to go to DC, then you go to Virginia, you get home at like 2 a.m. and you wake up at 7 because you have a class. They don't see that work.
Grind.
Oh my goodness, is it? And hearing that, it's like, oh, okay, this is what I do it for. It's like all that stuff don't matter as long as I get to make people feel that way. It's like God is good.
Yeah, and all the time God is
there you
great.
Go. Hallelujah.
Really.
We're churching in here.
Right, we really are. Hey, when two or more gather. But anyways, let's get into it.
My father used to say, like, so 2 or more in church. You guys pay tithes and offering. Just kidding.
So I talked about my favorite comedian. You mentioned, who's your favorite comedian of all time?
Dave Chappelle, man.
Okay, thank you, because I had to kick you out if there's any other answer.
I'm gonna tell you how I started. So I mean, I knew of Dave Chappelle because he's not of my generation. Kevin Hart would be my Because I'm sure you're a little older than me.
I had to do a deep dive on like the Dave Chappelle show and
right.
all the drama.
I didn't grow up with Chappelle's show like that. I grew up with Kevin Hart, Real Husbands of Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I knew of course Kevin Hart. I knew about Eddie Murphy, Jamie Foxx, and all these other comics I used to watch when I was a kid. Martin Lawrence, I love.
Oh my God,
I love Martin. He's from PG too. You know,
I didn't know that.
He's from PG County. He grew up right probably 15 minutes from me. But yeah, so I knew about all of these comics. And Dave Chappelle, I knew of him, but I didn't really watch his stuff until I was like 16. And I saw Dave Chappelle, and I was like, this guy's like funny. Because he had I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson.
Dave, you better stop.
I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson.
Yes.
We're connecting right now.
Yes.
We have like 17 things in common. That's insane. But real stuff. I was such a big fan of like Michael Jackson. And I'd hear these comedians make jokes about Michael Jackson. I hated every single one of them. Cat Williams had a joke about Michael Jackson I didn't like. And, you know, Jamie Foxx had a joke about Michael Jackson. And then you name it. Every comedian has a Michael Jackson joke. Chris Tucker, I like Chris Tucker's one where he says, what if Michael Jackson was a pimp? All right. And it's just hilarious. But Dave Chappelle's joke was just so funny because it was just this perspective I've never heard before. He was like, what if Michael Jackson, forgive my language, this is just a joke.
Yeah.
He's like, what if Michael Jackson, him sucking a kid's penis was the cure for cancer? That's what it was. And I was like, that's like a thought I've never thought of. And his whole act out with that, to me, it was like 16. I was like, oh, this guy he's a different beast. I went into a deep dive. I watched everything. And he was sort of, in a weird way, this is going to be weird to say, but I felt like I was watching somebody that was like me, if that makes sense.
Oh, man, and what that meant to you.
Yeah, what that meant to me. So it was like, because I'm weird, but I'm like not weird. I'm like popular, but I'm not popular. I could dance, but I don't like dance. You know, I'm like this weird guy. And it was like, I'm very awkward. And it was like, I could feel that when I'd watch him in interviews and stuff. And it was like, oh, that's kind of like me almost. And I was like, if he could make millions doing his passion, I could probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think when I was like 17 when I came with that conclusion, maybe 18 when I came with that conclusion. And then I told my brother, I was like, yo, should I do stand up? And he was like, you could do it. I believe in you. And then COVID happened and then I couldn't do it. I was writing jokes and then I started like 18 I started writing jokes really. And then 19 I performed. And
wow.
Now I'm depressed for life. That was all that for that punchline.
Such a mile up and then
was
just
all the way up to depression.
Yeah. So you mentioned how like you're a dancer but you're not, and then you're awkward, but then you're on stage and you're making people laugh. So like, do you? Because I feel very familiar with that feeling as a first gen, where like, I when I went back home and was with my cousins, like I had an American accent, so I don't know how to speak my native language fully. And then when I would be with my homegirls in grade class, like I was the only brown girl in the class. Like I just was always in a state of transition. Like I just didn't know where I fell.
This is a joke I was trying to work on. That's so true. Because like code switching is something that immigrant kids are just so naturally like. Well, by the time we're like 10, we just mastered it.
That's a survivor skill. Yeah.
Yeah. So I felt like I actually didn't really code switch too much.
Okay.
Because for one, my parents worked at my school, so
no way.
So it's like it's kind of hard to switch up with them. And my father, because he was, PG County is like one of that areas where he's like, just so black. He pretty much so talked the same. It was just like the cultural certain things was just different. Like getting the good grades, like I had to get good grades, or he'd beat me. I had to get A. Yeah. Even if I got a 97, he was like, "Why didn't you get 100?" That was his thing. So. That was the only thing, but really, I like code switching. I learned that more so when I was like as a cashier and on TNs. That's where I most show. I was like, oh, when I talk to white people, I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Code switching.
When I'm with black people, I'm more so the same.
That's okay. I have a question here. That's
sure.
Where do you think first gens feel, or for you, where do you feel the most seen? Like, is it when you're with your family? Is it on stage? Is it when you were at the cashier? Like, when did you feel the most?
Like, what do you mean by most sane?
Like, where you feel the most yourself. Like, for me, to give you an idea, is like my cousins. Like, because they understand those two worlds. That's where I felt the most. Like, I could tell them about me failing this test, and they'll understand. I could tell them about the boy I'm dating. They can understand. Where if I tell my parents, they would be like, "What are you talking about? Get your grades up. Stop." You know what I mean? Like, did you have anywhere you felt safe, even if it meant you're alone in your room? Like, that's where you felt the most like.
It's interesting. That's a great question, because you talk about your cousins also are first gen too.
Yeah.
See, all my cousins, they're all all in Congo. So it's like it's just us. It was my father, my mother, and then my 3 other siblings.
Okay,
so we're all like together.
Okay.
And we're all like kind of like we all have our own friends. I'd say I don't know. Like,
and it's okay if you don't know yet.
I don't know. I tell you what, when I used to work at Auntie Anne's and I used to work with Hispanics, like I felt closer to them. Like I'd say, just my Filipino coworkers, because I could feel that struggle. Because a lot of those first generation, doesn't matter what type of first generation you are, you understand that you're only doing these jobs, these tough jobs, because you're trying to make money.
Talk about
you know what I mean? So I felt related to them, other than people that were just like Black Americans specifically.
Yeah,
I can connect with them in that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what has comedy has played into your life? Like, why comedy?
Oh, why stand up? That's a great question. Dang, you asking the real questions right now. I feel like I'm in therapy right now, dude. It's like, I don't know, can I lay down?
Why has so many people said that? Which is why you get that side of the couch, because you can lay right.
Yeah, I can lay down. Okay, cool. This is my therapist now. We can shut off the cameras.
I'm honored.
Why comedy? I tell you why at first. When you get that first laughter, it's like when I got my first ever laughter, it was like, whoa, it was like a drug. Well, I'm talking about when I was on stage the first time. But even when I was a kid, it was one of those things. My father was funny. My brother's funny, and that's just how we always communicate. It was like my coping mechanism. When I was a kid, it was the only thing I knew. If somebody made fun of me, I would just make fun of them, or I'll make fun of myself, or I just be goofy. That's just how I started, as a child. But as when you're a stand-up comedian, you hear that first laugh, it's like, oh man, I want more of that. And you constantly try. It's like a drug, honestly. Yeah. You're constantly trying to get that first laugh, but you never get it. You always get close to it, but you never get that first laugh again.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And speaking of like your family and your siblings, what birth order are you? Are they the youngest?
I'm the second and youngest. So it's my older brother, older sister, me, and my younger sister.
Okay, because I always find it interesting that like the entertainers, not always, but the entertainers are usually closer to being the youngest of the family. And I think because I'm the youngest of the family as well, and I think it was like any tension or anything like that, or we're at a party, I'm like tap dancing and like singing, even though I didn't have that talent. And I would see people clapping and laughing. I'm like, okay, I just have to keep doing this. Do you know what I mean? And so I think it's like a younger, because I feel like the oldest one has the task of taking care of the rest of the crew. You know what I mean? So I had the luxury of just. That's actually,
I've seen that before, but I think with my family specifically, like we're all so funny. It's like it just all makes sense. Yeah, we're all funny. So I know my brother was funny. My father, he's hilarious, rest in peace. But I didn't know my sister, like she was funny until like recent. I've been talking to her a lot more recently because she's back from VSU, and it's like she's so funny. Like we're all funny. My little sister, she's funny. Like it's crazy how that. I don't know. We're all like, we all have problems.
Sounds like your environment.
Like I remember my father died. Like it's like the first day he died, and I was like shooting videos, and I remember my sister was just like, she was like, what if you were dancing, you're just crying while doing my dances and stuff, and I was like, that's messed up to say, but I'm laughing. Yeah.
Because then what's the other? I always say this on the podcast: we can either cry or laugh. Yeah. Now, the passing of your father, which I was not aware, rest in peace to him.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean to, but obviously my father died. I feel bad for him.
No, but I just want to pay my respects.
Oh, appreciate you.
But that's how you respond to it, because we talk about it off camera. But like, the reason why I love comedy so much is because that's the only thing that kind of got me to the next day when I was having my tough time with either mental health or whatever the case is, or anxiety or whatever. That was the only thing that like kept me afloat for a little bit. And so again, you were that gift that allows people like me to like, want to continue in kind of like our tough times. So the fact that you're able to do that on one of probably the toughest moments in your life. Like, look at you.
That means a lot. Dave. Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, really.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
God is good.
And all the time, God is good.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that through every report.
Because if I
don't have an answer, I'm like, God is good. So, yeah, God is good. All right.
That will show me. I'm like, yep. Okay, you got it. That is so funny. So you mentioned the dance. So I did see it's called the finisher.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your dance.
You're right.
So where did that stem from?
It was funny. So it was like a dance that was viral on TikTok.
Okay.
But it was like, I remember specifically, it was like 3 dudes. It was like doing it, but they were trying to look like seducing and sexual while they were doing it. And I was like, that's not like a sexy dance to do. Like, it's just like, you don't look sexy. You know what I'm saying?
I will insert the clip he's talking about.
Yeah. And I was like, that's not a sexy dance to do. So in my head, I was like, it'd be funny if I did it in like the same way, but funnier. So I like, I'll look a certain way while I do it. I'll wink or whatever. And I thought it was hilarious to me. And then every time I did it went like, my videos would go viral. And then anytime I didn't do it, they're like, where's that dance, bro? Where's that finisher? And then it took its stain. Now people, even to this day, because I kind of stopped doing it, but even to this day, people are like, yo, we haven't seen the finisher in like 2 videos. You good? You okay?
Everything okay?
Everything okay? We need this finisher. And I was like, all right, cool. I made shirts for it, so I was like,
oh, nice. Get that merch. Yeah. I did see you even did it on stage. Like
I did.
They were
do
going
it
back and forth or whatever in the audience, and then you're like, "Ooh, should we do the finisher?" Just like break the ice. I was like, "Yeah."
That was, oh my goodness, that was fun. I love when it's like when doing videos on social media. I'm able to be able to do my videos on stage. That's kind of cool.
Oh, like to cross over.
It's the cross. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Yeah,
the crossover it's fun. It's always fun.
So speaking about like your comedy, your skits, being on stage, I've asked Benny this before. Is where do you usually pull from? Like, where do you get the inspiration to come up with these skits? What makes it into on your grid on your social media? What doesn't? Like,
my skits specifically, or are you talking stand up?
Your skits. Yeah.
It's funny when I get most of my viral videos, I'd say it's like I'll be listening to like music. Like while I'm running, I like to run and listen to music. Usually while I'm running, I like start listening to certain music, and then I just like come up with these ideas while I'm running, and then I start dancing while I'm running. And I'm like, oh, this would be funny if I did it this way, and that's usually how it comes out. It's usually that, like every time, for the most part. Yeah. And those are the most viral ones, I should say. And
then, are you also always writing jokes?
That's a good question. I should be, but usually, I mean, in my prime, when I was writing a lot more, it was like I'd try to write 2 hours a day, and now I'm trying to get back to that, but 2 hours a day is how I used to do it.
Because you're basically full time. What we talked about.
Basically, So I try to write 2 hours a day. I should be, but I'm not doing it right now.
And that's okay. Everyone has their own pace.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
You're like telling yourself that.
I'm telling myself, hey, Dave, stop BSing, dude. I'm watching you. I'm watching right now, actually. This is live.
Oh man, I'm already loving this episode. I'm so glad you're here.
I love this. This is fun. This is I did a podcast before with a white person, so this is all.
And on that note, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back after these short messages.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we are back. That was just a shameless plug. So make sure you follow Firsties. That's Firsties POD everywhere. And I will also link and tag all of Dave's information as well. So you guys can watch him go do the finisher online. We should do like a finisher's challenge. Why not? Okay, so being in this country, just talking about like first gens, we kind of always talk about just like the kind of like the mundane things that we all deal with. And you mentioned this earlier, that like it's so strange how like I could talk to my Indian friend, Hispanic friend, Filipino. We have that shared experience, whether it's like bringing the smelly food to school, or like your mom cooks the night before and then now your book bag smells strange, or texture of her hair, or like all the like we all can really relate, which is why I want to start this podcast. Now you mentioned that since you said PG County school,
PG County,
that people around you necessarily kind of look like you.
Right.
So you kind of didn't really feel like an outsider or anything like that for the most part.
For the most part. It was certain times where it was, like I was skinnier. And, you see those commercials with the skinny African kids and, you look like them. So people are like, oh, Dave, you need some food. People would ask me sometimes. So that was like, it was just really like just like the weight and the hair. And luckily I feel like I was funny enough to where I didn't get roasted a lot. Like I probably got roasted more for other things, but it wasn't like it wasn't. It was more so being poor. Like I lived in a rich area, so like being poor was like, oh, I didn't have the sneakers, or like I remember I slept over. First time I ever slept over a friend's house, which is another thing. That's another thing too. You sleep over somebody's house, man. Your parents don't like that. I had to lie, dude, for something, but. I remember the first time I ever.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the first time I slept over like a friend's house, and it was just. I remember I went into their house, and I was like, "This is true." I literally went into their house. I was like, "Wait." I was like, "He lives here." I was like, "This is his house." I told his father. I was like, "This is his house. He lives here." It was just like 3 stories, and and I remember they had 7 cars, a garage, and I was like, "This is great," because we don't have a porch, we don't have grass. You know what I'm saying? Our house is small. We all like sleep on each other's laps. It was all just congested, and it was just kind of cool just to see that. It was just like, wow, it's just different, and Also, my friends and their parents talk. I don't know if you experienced that as a child of immigrant, but like we didn't really. Affection just wasn't a thing that we
Okay, let's dive in. Let's really talk about it.
Let's do it, man. I'm here.
Let's talk about it, right?
Saturday. This is when you talk about stuff like this.
Absolutely. Now, I do have to say, like, I literally just had my mom on my birthday episode like a couple weeks ago. Like, I've prayed for the relationship that I have with my parents now, but that's because I think I'm an adult now, so they're not really like raising me anymore. But at some point, my mom was definitely like not my most favorite person. She definitely was like, and this is my, teenage brain. I have the best mom in the world, but from that age, like, it was just, if I came home and talked to her, I said this before, if I came home and talked to her and said like, oh my God, like Dave talked to me and like, I think we might go to homecoming together. She'd be like, nigga, what? Like, what are we? I would actually be in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? I'm not working this hard for you to get a boyfriend at 14. But that's when you're at that age, like, that's all you really care about, your social life. Even though I'm still an honor roll student, but I also, you know what I mean? Yeah,
they wanted you to be single until you're like 40. They're like, where's your grandkids at? So what do you mean, grandkids?
That's another thing. Yeah. It's like the moment I graduated and got the diploma, now they're like, where's the boyfriend? I was like, well,
you told me to be.
I don't have a healthy relationship with men or intimacy issues or whatever because I've never learned that. Where my friend, let's say Catherine, has been dating in a healthy way. Let's not get crazy. It has to be age appropriate and stuff. And now at this age, she knows what she likes, what she doesn't like. You know what I mean? I'm still kind of learning that at 20 freaking 8. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about it.
No, you're preaching right now. I kind of want you to go ahead. Go ahead.
But really, it's like the thing where we did so well in our academics, which again, like everything worked out and I'm happy for that.
I was valedictorian, by the way. I just wanted to drop that in there.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I know. I
didn't mean to say that. It slipped out. It slipped out. I didn't mean to say it was valedictorian.
Yeah, it slipped out.
I was valedictorian 5 years ago.
It slipped out. Yeah. It's neither here nor there. Yeah.
Actually, it was like 10 people in my class, but look, I won. Okay, I was on top.
You were number 1.
Hey, it's not about the snail of the race. It's about the race that snails. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we'll clip that. No, that's amazing. My mom was looking at you like, oh my God, amazing. You're valedictorian.
Oh my gosh. Shoulders.
There you go. you know. Yeah, but I just feel like as first gens, we're so ahead on certain areas of our life and then other areas that we did not think about, we're so behind. And that's just because 100%. Of kind of like how serious I come from a religious family, also like school's number 1, then I only did sports because my parents allowed me to do sports because I was begging for a social life. And they're like, okay, actually, if we get her busy in field hockey and volleyball and summer camp, all this, she has no time for all the other things that is not appropriate at that age, which I get. And of course, it's a full circle moment. Like I have my nieces and nephews when I'm looking at my cousins raise them, I'm like, I get why you're this strict. I get why I can't go on the sleepovers. Like they're trying to protect me from certain stuff that I don't need to deal with. But that first sleepover is no joke because you're like, it's like Dave Chappelle's joke where he's like, everything at their house works. Like it's that I related to
everything at their house works.
You know what I mean? He's like, y'all need to step your game up. Like it's so real. Like I really relate to that.
Oh my goodness, Dave was hilarious. But no, it's like I always remember this, and that's why comedy is therapy for me. Like I'm literally writing jokes. And I'm like, because when I first started comedy, I used to like kind of in a way I used to make fun of my father, like how he used to like beat us and all this stuff. But the more I was writing, the more I was like I understood him. Imagine coming to a different country.
Talk about it. Go ahead.
You in a different country, you don't know nobody because you believe in your dreams so much, and you have kids, and you see like my father. We live around, you see crackheads. Maybe we have a crackhead. His name is Troy. We have a crackhead Troy that lives in my neighborhood. I've seen him grow up. He went from no shoes to now he has one shoe. He's made it. But, you grow up with crackheads. You see people, bums and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't want my kids to be like this. You know what I mean? So, like, he just, he wasn't the best at communicating it, But he always tried his best to make sure that we was on a straight and narrow. And we are. Look at me. I mean, look. I'm on somebody's couch. I made it.
I will say, again, this might make you feel uncomfortable, Dave. But even in the short time I've known you or met you, you've just been so warm and just like a gentleman. And
I try.
You're really giving off like good vibes, really. Again, there could be bodies in your closet. We don't know.
I might have a skeleton too.
Don't we all?
I got some stories, dude.
I'm weak. But no, it's so interesting. I think what you're discussing is that when it comes with age, that understanding of like,
Yeah.
oh, the world is actually really messed up, and my parents are just trying to protect us.
Oh my, yeah.
Especially in this first world country, like they had to protect us at all.
The first 18
costs.
years of my life,
Yeah.
my father was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't stand the guy. Maybe the first 15. But no, I was 15, 17. But then when I got to 18 to like when he passed 20 when I was 21, oh my, like he was like my best friend. So it was I understood everything he did. Everything he did, I was like, oh, I wouldn't change anything.
Amen to
Anything.
My parents are the homies.
Yeah.
Like the stuff we talk about, I thought we would never get her. Because here's the thing is that I had shame of, oh, my parents might go their whole life, or I might go my whole life. My parents won't actually really know who their child is from both parts. Meaning when I would I talked about it before, I no longer engage in this, but I would FaceTime my mom at the strip clubs when I was younger too. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Because my mom knows who her child is, what I'm capable of, what I'm not. When
That's
certain
fun.
things, when I see certain things happening, I call my Uber, I'm out. She knows where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that really, even though I shouldn't be there necessarily, but I just love that my parents know who their kid is. Because I would imagine when I have my own, I would want to know that my kids just come to me with everything. But I think what happens with a lot of first gen,
they don't trust their parents. They lie.
Yeah, because the shame. I don't need to deal with the
100%. I used to lie.
Even the thought of me asking, I would get grounded. 100%. You know what I mean?
It was a certain point. I think it's either me or my sister.
Yeah.
Maybe more me. I got someone. Oh yeah, I'm going to the bookstore. If I was going on a date or something, or if I was you name it. Like when I first started stand up, I didn't tell him I was doing stand up comedy. I just told him.
Okay, so what was that like?
I told him I was like, I can't even remember. I do comedy so much, I didn't even remember. I think the first time I told him I do stand up, I'm going to my friend's house. I'm going to my friend's house, just gonna be there. I'm gonna come back after. I couldn't tell him I was doing stand up. They wanted me to be like a dentist, a doctor, a pastor, and all this stuff. It was to find out that their kid is doing
the finisher,
doing the hit and diss and stuff in front of strangers, kids. We don't want to see no Diddy, you know what I mean? But no, and it took they didn't know what I was doing. But then, as the social, I used to do it at home, my videos. Yeah. So my father would see, I do it at 2, 3 a.m. when he'd get home, and then he'd see me. He's like, what are you doing? I tell you. And he was like, oh, I'm just doing videos for people. And then they started growing and growing and growing. At that, I was doing stand-up every day. And my father understood it. That was the beautiful thing, is that, he understood that his son, when he really believes in something, he's going to do it. He's going to do it at his best. So he respected it. But even before he passed, he was like, Dave's just working. He's working.
I'm sure he's so proud of you. Yeah, that's
Hopefully.
awesome.
I haven't seen him in a minute.
That's
It's been a while. It's uncomfortable.
I love it because that's such a dark joke.
It's been a minute. I've actually forgot how he smelled. I don't miss that, the smell. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Please.
No, I know.
I'm afraid he's going to come down and just beat me up. Or come up. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you talk about your family in your comedy and your skits at all?
Oh, you talking about skits or something?
Or excuse me, in your stand-up.
Yeah. No, you got stand-up. I do. I'm still kind of new to stand-up. I'm still 3-4 years in. Still trying to figure out just how to be funny. Because I kind of want to be opinionated, but I'm not at that point yet. I'm getting there now. But yeah, for the first few years, I definitely wanted to just talk about my family, because everybody has family. It's relatable and stuff. So yeah, I'm talking about my family, my father, my mommy.
Okay.
My brother, sister.
Do you so I'm trying to see where, because I have not had the honor. I will see you live.
Oh, that's
one
fun.
time. I will definitely come to one of your shows.
Hopefully I do good. Hopefully. Let's pray.
I'm seeing Benny and I. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too.
I'm trying to see okay, so are you trying to implement Dave Chappelle or a Joe Coy who talks about his mom, or Fluffy, or you know what I mean, where, or you're still figuring it out?
I'm still figuring it out.
Okay.
I'd like to say that I just want to say some real stuff. I just want people to feel me, because it's like you said, and I feel this too. The world is so dark, and I just want to make people laugh. Also, shed light on things that are dark too. That's what I feel like I should be doing. That's how I feel it's gonna take me. But I don't know. I'm right now. I kind of treat comedy like dreadlock. Let's just say locks. I kind of treat comedy like locks, where it's gonna grow however it grows. But I know because it's locks, it's gonna come out beautiful. So that's just how I'm treating comedy.
You better have a word, okay, Dave.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I've been reading poetry. I'm a big fan of poetry.
No, you're writing poetry. That's amazing. Love that. I'm gonna clip that. Okay. So, okay, now talking about your comedy and that lifestyle, you basically mentioned that you're full time. Are there some, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I kind of want to dive into it, that
Sure.
It's very similar to like, we meant to talk about, like, our parents did this job. Like, our parents didn't really have careers. They had jobs. So then we could have an opportunity at maybe having a career one day. You know what I mean? Like, especially for my parents weren't excited to be working these, 4 a.m. waking up and working 16-hour days, but they did it because it paid the bills. And we're kind of doing that now as we're going after our dreams. So, can you kind of go into detail or share whatever you feel comfortable with of the not so fun parts of being, because you make it seem so easy with your skits and being on stage of like, oh, he's just funny. And I know there's more that goes into it.
Sure. Like, so you're saying just the trials of being a child of immigrant? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Because to me, I see that common thread of like, the reason why I know how to work, bust my ass, is not because my parents told me to, it's because I just saw it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no. I like that. Unless I'm going to switch my foot.
Yeah, please.
My left foot.
Now he's getting serious.
I'm getting comfortable with it. This is real. When you see when it get pointing, when it's pointing to God, I'm saying some real stuff. Don't look at the taint, by the way. My taint is just being shown. I feel uncomfortable. Can you delete this? No, I was kidding. No. Oh, man. I see my father work. Dude, I've seen him work because he had so many jobs. Like, he was a pastor. He was a pastor. He was a cake delivery driver. He did Popeyes, KFC, any chicken. No, I'm just kidding.
No, just not discriminating over any chicken.
He didn't discriminate. He wasn't a vegan, I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
No. What else did he do? He worked for a tire company. Name it all. I can't even remember. He was a security guard at my school, janitor at my school. My mother, she did so much too. So, and you see them work. Oh, man. My father, sometimes he would leave the house maybe at 8 a.m., maybe 6 or 8 a.m. And then when he was at my school, I would see him at school, of course.
Yeah.
And then he would get home at like 6, and then he'd work at another job at 8 o'clock, sleep study. He'd be there 8 to like 4. And it was like he had no time to really sleep.
How did he do it?
Oh my goodness. It was for us. It was for me, his big head son, Yeah. And you see him do that, and then he'd beat us so much. And it's not that he just beat us. He'd beat us. I was a dumb kid. Like, I feel like certain kids deserve to get beat. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Ooh, let's talk about it.
And I deserve to get my little sister. Probably not. She's great. She turned out great. Very smart. She does something wrong. She knows it's wrong. She won't do it again. I'm the opposite.
You touched the fire a couple times.
I touched the fire. I'm like, oh, maybe it was cold. Oh, lukewarm. Oh, it's hot. Yeah. Oh, it's really hot. I probably should keep my hand off this. I mess up like 4 times, then I'll learn. That's why you beat that kid. If you beat that kid, I understand. And I was that kid.
I'm dead.
So my father, me and my father, man, he beat me, dude. It was fun. It was fun. It was a game, dude. He beat me so much. I was like, hey, Dad, you ready? So you ready to bring the belt this time? No, he beat me a lot, and he beat me sometimes. It was always because I did something wrong. It wasn't like, to be fair, he'd be very tired from work. And I probably wasn't the best person to come home. Imagine you come home, you work a double shift, and you see your kid like writing on the walls. It's like, I gotta fight this guy. I gotta beat this guy.
Right. We're squaring up.
We got to. I know I would. But so with that, he did that, and it was always like grades. It was always grades. Like if I got like a bad grade, he'd be like, Dave, come on, get good grades. I remember I used to talk in class. I remember one time, this is a funny story. You want to hear this?
Yeah, please.
My father worked at my school.
Yeah.
So he had all the teachers' numbers. They were coworkers.
He sure did.
You know what I'm saying? So, sorry, this went in my mouth. Hopefully this tastes like Benny. No, I was kidding. This is what Benny tastes like. But no, man, it was one day, my father was like, because I got in trouble a lot. My father was like, look, Dave, he said, don't get caught talking in school today. If the teacher calls me because you talk in school, you're going to be a problem. That's what he said. And I was like, okay, cool. Just like the one day he says I can't mess up. I was like, okay, cool. I go to my math class.
I got this. Yeah.
I'm in my math class. I start talking. I start playing around. I start doing my thing. I'm messing up, whatever. And my teacher, my math teacher at my 8th grade, he was my principal actually, which is honestly stupid that I messed up in that class. I mess up. I'm talking. And my principal teacher was like, he comes to my office, which means that nobody was in class. But he said, come to my office. We go to his office and he calls my father. He doesn't pick up, but he leaves a voicemail. And I get home, my father's like, I got a voicemail here, your principal, the teacher, you say you was talking in class. That dude beat me so he didn't say that he beat me. It's how he smacked me. It was like, I think my father used to box. Like it was so, because I used to box and he hit me so quick. I was like, oh, this guy, he shouldn't be a pastor. He should be the next Sugar Ray. He hit me. It was like, he put his hand behind his back and he was like, so you were talking? And I was like, yeah, man. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is, yeah, that's it. And then he found I had like a good grades though, because I had good grades. So he was like, oh. He's like, JK. Yeah, this guy. It's fine. He's like, you want to watch him? I was like, yeah, I'm fun. You
right into a comedy career. Yeah.
Yeah, now we're here. But I thank God for that though, because like, I feel like I'm very strict on certain things. I work hard in comedy. I think a lot of comedians in DC, if they know who I am, they know that like, I work hard. So
it's because of him. How far you've come and where you're gonna go? Yeah.
I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah.
He looks just like your ceiling. I'm sorry. I can never be sad.
Again, for everyone who's listening, we have to laugh because if we don't, we're going to cry. So he's fine. He's doing okay. Right. Like, literally, it's just the dark humor. I thoroughly enjoy it because I totally do.
If you were crying, like, I'm done.
No. Because again, yeah, that's all we can do. Yeah. I know a lot of people can relate to that of like the strict discipline that comes from immigrant families. And the fear that you have of disappointing your family or not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Absolutely. You know what's so interesting is that like the number one comment on all of my report cards, straight A's, honor, all the things, but Mila talks too much. You could call my mom right now and ask. That's the number one.
But you know why that is though?
Why?
At home, could you talk? Not really, right?
Let's talk about
exactly. So you have all this energy harnessed, and you're like, where do I do this? In school where they're not around. So that's what it is.
When they're not around, it's crazy.
That's what it is.
Let's talk about that. Not you being the therapist.
Like
let me lay down.
Switch? Switch up to you.
No, but that's so real. Is that like sometimes not to get into like any details or anything like that, but sometimes when I was on the playground with my friends and I could really be a kid because I just knew at 8 years old, I should just be a kid. I shouldn't have to be the stress of like school and all these things or just seeing like, I think a lot of first gens can relate to this. Like, the discussions of like bills and like, are we able to pay bills was not shielded from me. So I was like,
was it like this for you where, cause I mean, I don't know how early your parents came to America, and my father, he came to America, he couldn't speak any English. I don't know if in Ethiopia y'all speak English. Y'all just speak English.
Yeah. The schooling there, you have to learn English, but still a curve for us. Well.
Yeah. So like my father, he didn't speak any English. So, he comes to America. So like a lot of the times he talked to like the tax guy, maybe my mother more so than my father, but sometimes like certain words he can't understand. So he'll call, my older brother or me, we'll talk to the guys Translator. For him. Yeah. So like, that's something that is specifically, I think, first gen or immigrant children. You know what I mean? So that's something too. I used to have a joke about that. That was like, he gets upset at me for not understand. The tax guy couldn't communicate well. I'm like, dude, I'm 8. Yeah. Dora doesn't teach this.
It's crazy.
I can't color.
Where's that SpongeBob episode?
There's no SpongeBob episode for taxes.
It's so real. Yeah,
I'm waiting for that episode.
It's like, I'm not joking. Like that FAFSA journey of trying to figure out how to do it, and my sister being the oldest, she was the first one to go through it. Like it was it was tough because our parents were looking at us, we're looking at them like we don't know what we're doing, and we're like IRS, we're not trying to get arrested for not adding up line 6 and 7 to get like it was.
That first generation older. Are you? So you're not. What's your class? Like, are you the first? So you're not the oldest. You're like.
No, I'm the last. I'm the youngest.
How many is it?
I have an older brother and an older sister.
Oh, that's.
But I came here when I was 3.
Oh, so you were born in Ethiopia.
I was born in Addis, in Ethiopia.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, and then grew up in the Northern Virginia area, but.
Oh man, I didn't. It's funny. And this is. I'm interviewing you now. This is interesting.
Please,
I love Ethiopians.
I'm exhausted. I've done work.
I've done research on Ethiopia. No,
okay.
I didn't. Living in PG, it was just like predominantly Black America. I see some Nigerians here and there. I see some Hispanics, Salvadorans to be specific. I love your food, papusas. But I never really grew up. I never really saw Ethiopians. So when I started comedy, that's when I started seeing white people. I'm cool white people now, and then I started seeing Ethiopians because I do comedy Nova.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah.
Man, you go to Nova?
I'm related to all of them.
Seminary Road?
Come on.
Whew.
Come on.
You go to Seminary Road, you'll see a group of them. It's like, this smells like injera. That's what you say. It smells like injera.
I love it. You really
and
know.
valet. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't know why we chose it. I always ask my parents. I make jokes all the time. Like, why did you pick one of the probably the most Arlington, Virginia, like one of the most expensive places in the country? Because now I'm like used to this environment and like all my family's here, so I obviously want to be close to my family. But usually like DMV areas where like a bunch of my family, Maryland, DC area, Virginia as well, Northern Virginia. Yeah, that's so interesting. That's hilarious. So cool.
That's another thing too. It's like out of every state, there's 50 states. You're gonna pick like the DC area. It's like, oh my goodness,
it's crazy. It's insane.
It's wild, but it's fun. I love it. I honestly, I couldn't imagine being an African in Idaho. That'd be crazy.
So I had. You've
been in Idaho?
No.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to the. Is it Idahoans? I don't know, but I don't really want to go. I travel a lot for work, and sometimes I get to go to awesome cities and not. But I will say I had Mr. Gupion or Michael. He's in Athens, Georgia, and he just basically says like he's not having a great time. He's ready to like get out of there. He's like, it's pretty racist. Like, so I'm thrilled that I'm at a melting pot.
Sure.
And that although maybe like my school was not as diverse, actually it was pretty diverse, but I still felt like an other because of our class system and the tax bracket that my parents were at, which is funny because I felt that in the moment, never expressed that to them because how dare I?
Yeah.
But then now growing up, I wouldn't, like you mentioned earlier, like when we first came here, we were in one apartment stacked up on top of each other.
Yeah.
You know how much money I would pay to go back to that because of the people who are no longer here. Like I've had family who's passed away, right? And then also that although we didn't have that much money at the time, it sounds corny, but we had all the love and we had everything that we needed.
The memories, everything.
God gave us everything we needed at the moment.
Right.
And 100%. To be a kid again and not have to worry about like real adult stuff, like come on.
Tickets?
Like
I got stories. Dude, I got more tickets than money in my account. I be doing this with my tickets like this. I'm broke.
And one day you'll be doing this with your money.
Oh, there you. Hey, look, this is good.
You know what I mean? Really. And I want you to hear that. Is that like with your talent, what you've been through, your experiences that give you that wisdom, and then your faith, which is the most important thing.
Hallelujah.
You're gonna go far, man.
Hallelujah, dude. I'm Christian. I'm Christian. I wanted to say that clearly. But my father being a pastor was fun. That was another thing too. It was sort of like saying, because comedy is sort of like being a pastor too. Okay. I think it stopped, but
yeah,
it's fun. But yeah, comedy is sort of like being a pastor. Like I would see my father set up the church. Like I set up the comedy shows sometimes.
No way.
Yeah, he used to set up the church, and sometimes nobody be in a church. Same way, sometimes nobody be at the open mics, and sometimes he's just preaching to me. I'll preach. I remember one time, my first time doing stand up, really, like when I was like 19ish. You know, sometimes I perform in a basement where it's like dogs, and I feel like nobody knows how it feels to bomb at home. That's a different type of bomb. Dogs are barking, you know, and I felt that same thing. I remember those same feelings with my father. My father, you know, be nobody in the audience, but it was always me and him. It was two of us sometimes, and it'd be like, you know, whether there's 2 or 3 guys there, that's what he'd say, and that's all that. Once I seen that from him, I'm like, I could do this. This is nothing.
That's amazing, Dave. Why am I getting emotional?
Oh, are you? Oh, well, there you go.
That's amazing.
You'll be all right. Do this. You do this. This will make you feel better. I do this.
See, that's another thing. Right when I said I was emotional, like, why did we get uncomfortable? Do you know what I mean?
Did,
we don't know how to handle.
We don't know how to be uncomfortable.
Like,
I'm telling you.
I'm like,
oh my! Can I tell you something?
If I'm you, I'd be like, need more water. Like, I don't know
struggle.
What to do.
I remember one time I was talking to this girl, and she's talking about some deep stuff, and I was like, I just started rubbing her back. I was like, I don't know, and she was like, I don't need this. I was like, okay, cool. I'm sorry. All right, because my fault. We never really said I love you. Like it wasn't a thing that we grew up saying. We didn't grow up. I don't know if you guys. I know some people are different. Some immigrant children are different. We didn't say I love you. We weren't like that affectionate.
Did he say it ever?
I love you. I want to say.
I'm proud of you. Like anything like that.
I remember he would say, we love our kids. He would say that. Me and your mom, we love our kids. But he never really said like to me, like, David, I love you. He never said words, that. Yeah. Which is, sad. But it, I mean, what can you do? I knew he loved me through his actions, which is like, that's all I need anyways. But that's my, like, for me now, I'm trying to, say I love you to people which is fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
It's
because
tough.
it's because
But it's fun.
we're unfamiliar with it.
Yeah.
So what are we supposed to do?
I told my sister I love you the other day. That was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Really? You're still recovering.
It was like eating spicy food. I literally was like, I was like, Joyce, let me get some water real quick. That's literally how it was. I swear. You're laughing. That's how it was. It was tough.
I'm crying.
It was the toughest thing. I
spicy
don't even think
food?
I don't even think I finished it. I was just like, I'll see you next week.
I gotta go.
Let me get some ice cream first, and I'll tell you something.
I'm dying because that's the realest. It's a thing. It's a thing that our parents show. Now, my parents did tell me they love me multiple times, but I have a cousin who that's not the case at all, right? And it's because of our parents are going through their own journey. They're also going through life for the very first time.
And that's the thing too, is that like, they work all the double shifts, they work so much. It's like the affection starts to lose itself. You're making money, but you're also losing that humanity in you. That's why it's good to have that medium. That's why even now, I used to work so hard last year and 2 years ago when I first started, but now I'm like trying to make sure I'm around friends, I'm around people. So, they could feel that love. Because, like, at the end of the day, what's important? I read the Bible. What's important is, being able to be, being good to people, being good around people. And also, you want to have memories. You want to have kids and stuff, So you have to get for me, I got to get a woman, right? And how do I get a woman? I got to have these experiences and also just having this wisdom so I can share, we can share, and then we grow, and then we have kids, and then I'm a father.
Amazing.
I'm over
here just like, really?
I'm a father in 5 months. No,
I was like, whoa, is there an announcement that you want to give to the audience? No, okay.
I'm safe. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm safe.
We're going to take a quick break, guys. We'll be back after these short messages.
We did it.
As always, guys, I usually plan for 45 minutes, and then of course we're having so much time. Like, cameras are dying, so we just have to reset everything. So you're really speaking it. So the last thing I kind of want to talk about, because you kind of mentioned it before the break, is that you want to find a woman in your life.
Oh, ladies, I love ladies.
Okay, right? Ladies are the best thing on earth. Yep.
Oh man, tell me about it. I got a story. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
So. How do you prioritize that? Because when you were, how old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay. So, going through school and
almost
everything.
I almost forgot.
Yeah, when you get older, literally, I'm like, wait, carry the one. Literally. Do you, I'm finding that I'm so used to not prioritizing that part of my life because it was like school, sports, be number one, be number one. And then one day it was like, Mila, where's the boyfriend? Where's the husband? I was like, okay. And then now I'm having a healthy dating life. Was that the same for you?
Yeah, basically. I had a comedian tell me this. I'm not going to say his name. Should I say his name? He's a cool dude.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
I kind of want to say just because it was some real stuff, and he probably liked this. His name he's African, Kadir Yusuf. He's Nigerian, too. Maybe we should have him on the podcast.
Okay,
He told me something that was so beautiful. And he was like, Dave, you want to, you want to learn how to get women so you don't become a creep. And he turned into these guys who can't really get women, so they use their money to get them. Which is like, you know what I mean? You ever hear these celebrities? They'll get women by paying them, whatever. It's artificial. There's no real love there. They're just loving them because they're successful.
Yeah.
And that's not the type of love I wanted. I wanted love to you hear the stories, The Notebook or, Hannah Montana or, High School Musical.
Come on.
Yeah, that's the type of love I want. I want the type of love where we dance in the middle.
I love this.
But no, so that was, it was even before that too. I was in situations, but that was always my thing. I was always very focused. Even in high school, I was just so focused, But then you start to see them. You start to see some woman, and you're like, oh, this person looks interesting. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it's organic, sometimes it doesn't work out. Because comedy's tough. It's an everyday thing for me.
Yeah. So. Did you have anything ever happen at your show? Like, I'm guessing maybe when you're on stage or anything that then afterwards someone approaches you at all or no? Or?
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Because I would say I've seen it before where seeing someone be public speaking, the confidence, being able to being funny is one of the most attractive things for women.
Yeah, ladies like it. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's funny because I've always been able to talk to women.
Yeah.
But I'm not a player. I'm not like, yeah, man, I be getting, you know what I'm saying? But I've always been able to talk to women. But I it's so funny because I didn't realize how much they like funny guys until I would do stand up, and then after shows, they'd be like, oh, it was funny, and they'll like give them me their number, or we go on dates or whatever. Yeah, I didn't realize how powerful it is to see somebody go up on stage and control a whole room.
Yeah.
Like women love that. I didn't even I didn't know this. I was so oblivious, but
because laughter is just so. Who doesn't like to laugh? Like
until it's too much, though.
Yeah.
It could be too much.
Well, talk about it. What do you mean?
You know what I mean? Then they're like, all right, can you be serious?
Oh, gotcha. Are you that? Do you just you don't take anything seriously?
I'm more appropriate now because, I'm older. I'm able to be, like, not always funny.
You're just, like, doing the finisher.
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing the finisher. It's like, can you take a shower? But no, it's like, like now, I forgot what I was talking about.
Do you take anything seriously?
Do I take anything seriously? Yeah, I do.
Is everything a joke?
Yeah, no. I try to be, like I said, in certain situations, I'll be serious. Like if we talking about like some real stuff, like where we need a solution, of course I'll be serious, right? Or just whatever the environment is. But I am a funny guy. I do perform a lot, so it's kind of I got to turn it on and turn it off type of thing. Even like because I learned that like my brother, I come home after shows, my brain is on 100. I'm like ready. I'm like looking at the sofa. I'm like, that's a weird sofa. I'm ready to crack jokes. But then my brother's like, you're not on stage. What are you doing? So then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm David, the introvert. So I'm like, it's quiet. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So do you so you're still dating right now, even because you're so busy right now, but like how do you make time for a personal life? Do you make time to rest? Do you make time for yourself?
That's a good question. It's funny. I thought I could. I tried to like do that thing where I was like balancing comedy and woman. It was tough though. I tried it. Like, well, like a situation, like, or a female. Like, can I call them female? Is that a problem?
You absolutely can.
Okay, 'cause certain people don't like.
Yeah. We just talked about it in the last episode.
Did we actually? Yeah. Benny said that.
Benny was like, "What do you think about people calling female?" And I said, like, usually it's not my most favorite thing, but it's because I've seen it on like the Fresh or Fit podcast. Where
I've heard about that.
Y'all females need to get together and get in line.
I'm not like them, by the way. They're terrible. They've said some things that I'm like, what the heck?
It's just yeah. But I want to ask. You said comedy and that woman in your life, whether it's a situationship or relationship, which one usually?
I try to do it, but it's like right now, no. I think right now, like in terms of like having like a girlfriend, it'd be tough for me.
Grinding, right?
All right, I'm in a grinding phase. I'm very locked in and focused.
Yeah.
I've had situations or like ladies that like were fun or whatever, but like for right now, it's just like just straight focus. I've tried it. It only works this way. It only works this way, for at least for me right now. Mm-hmm. Then the right one, who knows, the right one? Maybe I'll like make it work.
See, that's the thing that can be tough is that
I was trying to find
when you're grinding, you also don't want to block your blessings. So it's just I guess being open and then feeling like whatever God sends to you, because I agree with you. Right now, you just have to be focused. Like, I'm surprised that you even were kind of dating because you're grinding.
Yeah, now I'm grinding. That was a sex joke. You just got that? Are you serious?
No, I already got that. But then some comedians do that where it's funnier when you say
explain
like,
it. Oh yeah,
that was a racist joke. Like whatever.
I
it's
might
just
drop
like
that
funny.
in. Yeah.
Like that's funny. I think that's hilarious. Before we wrap up this episode,
this is fun, by the way.
That's literally that's the biggest compliment ever. That means so much to me. But cameras are literally dying because again, I plan for an hour or whatever, but then we always have so much fun.
That means I'm a good guest. That makes me feel good.
Yeah,
I'm
that's why everyone's so nervous before, but it's just like two people kikiing. I always say we're just kikiing on a podcast. Kiki. That's all we're doing.
Someone named my daughter Kiki.
Okay. On that note, is there anything that you want to plug? Straight to the camera, whatever you want to plug as far as what shows you have coming up. Obviously, I'm going to add your Instagram and everything.
Sure. No, it's funny. I'm always like this. Just follow me on Instagram because I perform so much. If you just want to come to a show, I always post it on my Instagram story.
You do.
Right?
Yes.
So, just follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is _ZUNNI_. That's me.
One more time?
_ZUNNI_. That's mine. And it's my TikTok, and I think it's my Facebook and my YouTube. So yeah.
Oh, that's the same thing all across.
Zunnni.
Genius, by the way.
Thank you.
Genius. For Google, that's genius. Because to have multiple things, it's just confusing for the audience members. Right. So please go show them love, guys. You are a great guest. You dropped so much gems.
I'm 22, but I'm working.
No, seriously, I'm shocked that you're 22.
Really?
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Oh man, you should.
you probably have gone through some issue in your life to be.
Oh my goodness, man! If we do another podcast,
we'll do part two. We'll do part two.
I'll tell you when I went to hell that one time. That's an interesting one. That's gonna take 7 hours.
All that matters that you came out of it. You know what I mean?
Survived.
And you're with God now, and we're good to go. So as always, guys, please make sure you follow, as well as follow Firsties Pod. That's Firsties Pod everywhere. And we will see you in our next episode. Take care, guys.